She crossed the room, heels clicking like a countdown. Her eyes held that familiar fire, mocking, daring, unafraid. She leaned back on the couch, arms folded, and whispered, "Closed legs for you." The words weren't loud, but in that quiet apartment, they landed like a hammer against glass. A smirk curved her lips, proud of the shock she thought she'd delivered. She wanted reaction. She wanted anger, or at least hesitation. I didn't give her either. Calm is underrated, and it's more dangerous than rage when measured carefully. I sat, letting her statement hang in the air. Her friends in the background chuckled nervously, unsure if this was a game or a confession. But I saw the pattern. Her arrogance had always been performative. Every insult, every flirt, every calculated look had been a piece in a puzzle she thought I couldn't see. I had always seen it. And tonight she was offering the final piece. Months earlier, it started with small tests, touching my arm lightly in public, laughing a little too long at someone else's joke, subtle calls at odd hours she claimed were work. I didn't confront. I observed, documented, stored. Because the truth has weight and patience makes it lethal. Every misstep, every overconfidence, every assumption she made about my inability to respond became ammunition. And now here she was offering it freely. I looked at her, calm. Not a muscle moved in my face, not a breath betrayed the storm within. "Is that all?" I asked softly, and it wasn't a question, it was a gauntlet thrown at the feet of someone who thought she could control me with words. Her smirk faltered, just slightly, but enough to show the first crack in her armor. "What do you mean?" she asked, voice a mixture of disbelief and curiosity. I leaned back, letting silence stretch like a blade between us. She hated silence. It gave room for doubt, for reflection, for fear. And fear is contagious. I thought back to every time she believed she had the upper hand. The parties where I smiled politely while noting every word, every gesture. The nights she left me waiting, convinced I wouldn't notice her patterns. I did. Every late-night text, every excuse, every laugh that wasn't meant for me alone, I cataloged it all. It wasn't revenge. It was preparation. Knowledge is a weapon, and I had mastered it. She stepped closer, trying to regain control, whispering, "You can't just..." But I stopped her with a look. Not anger, not a threat. Just the quiet authority of someone who had already won. She wanted a fight. I gave her something far worse, reality. "Do you remember," I began, voice calm but steady, "every time you tested me? Every time you thought I wouldn't see? Every time you tried to make me react?" Her lips parted, but no words came. She realized then that every calculated insult, every little challenge, had been nothing more than me mapping her, watching her unravel her own control. Her confidence wavered. For the first time, the arrogance she carried like armor felt weighty. I didn't need to raise my voice. I didn't need to shout. Calmness is sharper than any scream, and I had it in abundance. Tonight, she was learning a lesson she would never forget. Perception is power, but awareness is dominion. Her eyes widened, searching mine for a crack, a sign of weakness. There was none. You planned this?" she whispered, disbelief shaking her voice. I didn't answer. Calm had already done its work. She realized too late that every word, every action she had taken to provoke me had only revealed her own undoing. The room felt smaller, heavier. Her friends shifted uncomfortably, sensing the shift in power they had never seen before. She had believed she could manipulate, control, and break me with words. But the truth, carefully observed, patiently recorded, had already broken her illusions. I stood slowly, letting my presence fill the space. Not a triumph, not vengeance, just quiet resolution. The smirk she once wore as armor was gone. She had underestimated the quiet strength of someone who responds with patience, observation, and resolve. Every overconfident step she took had brought her to this moment, her collapse under the weight of her own arrogance. I turned, leaving her to the consequences of her actions. No words, no dramatics. Just reality. Calm had shattered everything she believed. And in that silence, I found not victory but clarity, the peace of someone who knew the truth had always been on their side.